What's up, and welcome back to Cartoon Universe. For those who don't know, the amazing digital Circus just put out the teaser for episode 7 over on the Glitch YouTube page, and we're gonna break it all down. Now, the episode does release on the 12th of December, so we're just a week away from that, and it's not just coming here to YouTube, but once again, the episodes are all coming to Netflix, so you can watch it there now too. Now, like a lot of the teasers, this one tries to focus on what the theme of the episode is going to be, which we've known for a while now is going to be something of a beach adventure, but of course, the entire time, it's cutting away to something much more dramatic that the episode's going to unravel. The cutting away starts with Kane's glitching, something we've seen in the series before, but something we're expecting to get more and more intense as we get closer to the finale. And what's interesting here is he's glitching out saying the phrase, it's time, over and over again, indicating that some big twist or reveal is about to happen, and we can probably guess what it's going to be about based on the rest of the teaser. The trailer has this very ominous shot of the door to Kane's office, with it repeating this sort of same exact shot with other doors, mimicking the shot from episode 1 where we first see the exit. And the trailer seems to be hinting at the idea that it's going to be very important for our characters to get into the office because that's how they're going to get into the exit. Now, when it comes to what's actually inside of Kane's office, one very interesting thing we see is this tiny little box that has a crystal ball in it with some sort of image of another location. This of course could just be some other level, but generally when levels and assets aren't being used, I think they're stored away somewhere else besides Kane's office. And instead, this seems to be some way for him to keep track of some other location where some other player or something else has to continue to exist. This is important because in the teaser, we hear a mysterious new sounding voice claiming that they think they have found an exit. Now, I don't think anyone is expecting this voice to actually be for a new character, and instead, most of us are expecting it to be the voice of the character Ribbit, someone who used to live in the circus, but who was implied to have abstracted in the past. Ribbit made friends with a few people it seems, but the most important of them was Jax, who seemed to be pretty hurt about this from what we saw in the previous episodes, and this episode seems to be dealing with Jax's guilt about what happened there. Despite Kane saying in the teaser that everyone's going to be going to the beach, it seems that Jax might actually be sitting this out after everything that went wrong in the last episode with Pomni and Ragatha. Here, we have this shot of him just laying in his bed with this very dead-eyed expression. Previously, this exact image was claimed to have leaked from the account of Gooseworks over on X. And it seems obvious now that this was more an attempt to get this as a little preview out of what to expect when the episode was still in its early phases. Now, if you zoom in on this image, you can see on the wall in the background that there's actually a photo of Jax with people from the circus that he seems to have actually considered his friends. In this photo, he has not just himself, who he of course obviously cares about, but also Kaufmo, a character he was implied to not have really cared about because of the way he avoided his funeral, though others took this as a clue that he was actually really close to Kaufmo and couldn't deal with him disappearing. Also in this photo, however, and harder to see, is the character Ribbit, who Jax definitely has some serious and complex feelings for. It does look like we'll actually be seeing the inside of Jax's room, aside from this one corner of a close-up with him, as we have this animation in the episode of the door slowly opening for Jax's room, and certain things we see in other shots that seem to be clearly related to him. The most important of these is this bucket of keys, as Jax claimed earlier in the series to have the keys to everyone's rooms. With the tiled floor in the background, I don't imagine this shot to actually be from his room, but if the other characters went in there and found this bucket of keys, they may be trying to use it in order to get into Kane's office, which we saw earlier. My theory is that Kane's going to begin glitching out somewhere inaccessible, and he's going to end up in a frozen state with this blue screen of death, as they used to call it. With that in mind, the characters would have to re-enter the circus on their own and go exploring for a way to help Kane, or at least help themselves in his absence, possibly leading to the idea that there's some sort of exit that's been being kept from them. Along the way, they would probably try to find Jax, and even if he was in his room at first, he might have gone off somewhere else when everyone got back from their trip. And because of that, when they go into his room, they may find a lot of secrets there, including this bucket of keys, which they could use to enter Kane's office. Now, we've seen Kane's office before, and it looked like a pretty normal office that any human would have. But in the trailer, we also get this glitched out little shot with what looks like a surreal labyrinth of madness that only Kane could come up with. And if I had to guess, this is probably going to be his real office or some location attached to it. With everything else Kane designs being more so for humans, this might be the only location where the surreal nonsense actually makes sense to him. But it could also be a labyrinth of horrors that he constructed in order to keep Pomni and the others away from the exit if he is in fact the one who has created the exit and is trying to keep people from it. Even beyond the mysterious voice mentioning an exit, the trailer seems to be hinting at it a lot by having this shot, which I believe to actually be Jax's door opening from the inside, but then it suddenly cuts away to this freestanding door in the middle of the open circus, perhaps another important door that they're trying one of those keys on from the bucket that they found earlier. We also get this other shot that shows the beach location, but what looks like an exit door appearing there, similar to the exit door that Pomni saw in the first episode. But this is blurred out, so it's hard to say what it actually means here, or even if this is an actual shot from the episode and not just sort of a promotional image within the teaser. Finally, in what is probably the creepiest shot in the entire teaser, we have this quick cutaway where we can't exactly see what's going on in the background, but we do have this clear image of a mannequin. This is interesting as it doesn't look like there's a camera pointed at the mannequin, but rather there's a camera in the show that the mannequin is pointing at himself. And on his face, we can also see this very creepy smiley face. Most of the mannequins don't have any face at all from what we've seen, but we have seen that there appears to be at least one mannequin existing in the background of the circus who's becoming more and more sapient, who a lot of fans want to believe is actually a pre-existing character who didn't truly abstract, possibly a character like Ribbit, who fans are expecting to at least meet in the form of flashbacks, but who could potentially come back in some other form just like this. However, with all the glitches and things going on, this doesn't have to be any sort of particular character and could just be an amalgamation of programming and humans or any other combination of things that just goes horribly wrong and creates some sort of mannequin type monster. This does appear to be the same mannequin that has been popping up in the background of the circus in previous episodes, as even in this trailer when we see this giant open shot of the hallway, if you zoom in the background, you'll notice this mannequin popping out and looking at you from around the corner, the same way he did in all of the previous episodes. The Amazing Digital Circus is a show that really doesn't pull any punches, and even with the teaser that seems like it's giving away a lot of the plot, every single episode has had some sort of mind-blowing facet to it that we could have never predicted, even with all the spoilers and little information that Gooseworks has been giving us from behind the scenes. But as far as the lazy arrangement of these details go, the episode seems like it's gonna have Kane bringing the characters on a beach adventure, glitching out on his own, Jax trying to stay away from the others, then Pomni and Ragatha and maybe a few others will come together to try and explore Kane's office after getting some of the keys from Jax's room. These are just my theories, of course, however, and if you want to find out what happens, you'll need to go watch the episode when it airs on the 12th, whether on Netflix or right here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe here as well, so that when the episode drops, you don't miss our theories and other breakdowns. Oh, and before I go, there was one more shot that I forgot to talk about that I did find within the trailer, which is this shot here of a white glove-covered hand holding a tiny golden hand, and I honestly have no idea what it's about or how I would have even fit this in the rest of the video anyways, so if you guys have theories on what this golden hand thing is all about, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wasn't expecting the trailer today, so I was in the middle of other stuff and just try to make it real quick, but I hope I found some things that you guys didn't get to see when watching the trailer yourself, or at least gave you something new to think about with what these scenes could all possibly mean. See you guys next time.